Hello, this is Stencil, and welcome to the Lillipa taco tutorial. First thing to say before we get started is that this is the hardest to learn of the tacos, so don't worry if you mess it up a couple times when you're first getting started. Right up here you should take a right to hit a switch, not everyone, just one or two people. What that does is it unlocks a purple gate up here, which you'll be seeing momentarily. Basically every part of this is someone going to hit a switch for someone else to get through something. As you can see, this purple gate is up until we hit the switch enough times with our weapons, and it goes down. There we go. And then you begin mashing on this switch. Basically there are several sets of these. Several ones you shoot at, and then several ones you have to mash like this. They usually lead to enemies like these in the domes. There really isn't a lot to talk about in the, just the killing before the switches. One thing to note is that for setting off the switches you have to shoot, having a force with techniques that have lots of multi-hit to them often makes it go by a lot faster. Up here is one last switch before another slight split part. Another thing you'll notice is that a lot of these have gates around them, even the smaller switches, on top of the dome, so that you can't get to them, even if you don't hit the switches before you kill things. Now up here what Rain is going to show, and what I mess up by starting up the red gates, is that there's another switch you have to shoot over there on the left of that pillar. If you go too far forward or too far to the left, it triggers monsters. So there's actually a gate right there that's kind of hard to see that you want to use as a guide. Moving up here, you want to hit the mobs and set off the barrels in a way that, you don't run into them when they explode. That's another pretty important part of this one, setting off barrels at correct intervals instead of, walking into them and exploding. This guy comes down. I'm not entirely sure what his purpose is supposed to be because I have literally never seen him land. Pretty much always skip whatever he is. One thing I should say though, while we're just sort of senselessly killing monsters to progress through gates, is that while we did these tutorial videos on normal, most people who run tacos do them on very hard, and so it can take you a lot longer to plow through these monsters. This is a good section for having someone with high AoE damage, like Rain with the rocket launcher, or of course with any number of spells really. I mean, lightning spells work best on these because, they're mechs. This section can be kind of frustrating, especially for rangers and gunners, because you can't shoot through or above any of these purple barriers. And that's it for the desert portion, which is by far the easier half of this. Now, for the second half of this, the subterranean tunnels, things get a little more complicated, as you will soon see. Up ahead there's a split, where one person goes straight and the other goes right, which you will see momentarily. Yes, right here. I've included picture-in-picture, so you can see our hunter moving forward on the straight path, and our ranger moving forward on the right path. The straight path is mostly just killing monsters and surviving, basically. It's a little harder to get through than the multi-character section, but it's less confusing. The multi-character section actually helps out for the single character section in that there are a couple of switches that the multi-character section has you capable of hitting. Up on the right here, yep, thank you, Arrow. Up on the right here is the first one you go to. There's a switch down that hallway which you can run up to, shoot a bunch of times to activate, and then run back to help finish the mobs, or if your party is finished killing the mobs, just come around the corner over here to the right. It can be kind of difficult to avoid the red laser beams and the spiky log trap things. Here's the second of the switches you get on this path. Just head left after the first turn. It's right there. Basically what these switches do is they deactivate red lasers on the single path, and it makes their job a lot easier. Another helpful hint for getting across these conveyor belts is doing, at the very least, small jumps to get across, because your jumping speed is much faster than your running speed. Something else to note about these is you really don't have to kill the monsters in your way unless you hit a red line. If you hit a red line, you have to kill pretty much everything in order to clear it out. Up here you have to kill the two big robots, the Gilness and the Gilnatch. Probably not pronouncing that correctly at all. In order to progress past that blue, red barrier on the right. Another important thing is down there is one switch you see now, and another will spawn once you run all the way down here and hit the other switch. They're basically matching switches to the single path you see on the top left and the switch we're running to on this path. Once you hit all four switches in conjunction with each other, a jumper pad spawns right across the way there. Which basically lets you skip all the way to the boss. I'm switching over to the singular point of view now because getting back over to the jumper can be kind of confusing from that path, and all you're going to see from our ranger is that they hit a red line and have to kill a bunch of monsters. Basically, you head back the way you came, but instead of turning left or going straight, you go down the conveyor belt a bit, and then make a left down here. There's usually a white wall over here, but it's been opened because of those switches. We go. you could see for a second Rain turning around and showing you a little bit of stuff that you don't have to do when you do these tricks. And the boss of the area is the Transmiser. He's not that annoying, but he spawns an absolute ton of suicide robots. And while you don't get to see it much on normal, it can actually be a huge pain on very hard just because of how long you'll stay alive and how much you have to deal with suicide bots. This has been Herb Stencil with the Lillipa Taco tutorial. Stay tuned for more.